pop in to get my luggage, and then the receptionist says, "Did you stay here last night?" I said, "No." He said, "Gustavo paid for you." That made it clear where I was meant to be staying. I moved back into the hostel, and a few weeks later, my wife walks in the door. And Gustavo sees her. Now, I'm the guy who's going to church Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Anyone who wants a spiritual experience in Jerusalem is referred to me. So I'm just walking down and people just walking with me. So she's come walking with me and she's telling me what her plans are. And she's saying, "Oh, I'm going to go to Reform Jewish kibbutz and this and that." And I was thinking, Reform Jewish kibbutz, good Christian girl. What are you thinking? Because in those days, in my mind, the Reformed Jewish kibbutz was a den of iniquity. We heard stories about these kibbutz and what they got up to in these kibbutz. So I'm thinking, what's a good Christian girl going there? So I asked her, "Why don't you try and stay in the church?" It was Mount Zion Fellowship. It was a community of women mainly, and people came and stayed and volunteered and so why don't you consider staying in there? And so I said to her, she could hear dreams, and I said, "Why don't you ask the Lord to see if you should stay in the church?" She didn't feel comfortable to talk to the pastor. She didn't feel so comfortable with her. But in the night, she had a dream where the pastor welcomed her with a big smile. And so some of the people in the dream from the church were taking her to the hostel. So after that, I was going to take her to the hostel, but I thought that's a little bit strange because in the dream, someone from the church was taking her to the hostel, one of the women. And if I'm taking this beautiful girl to the hostel, to the church, people might be thinking. So as we walked out the hostel, the people from the church were walking past the hostel. So I just handed her over. And then they walked the 45 minutes to the church. She stayed there. Her direction changed. She never went to the kibbutz. She connected with Christians. She came back to the Lord. And then I asked her, "Could you ask the Lord to have a dream to see if we should be together?" It's within 2 weeks. Within 2 weeks. "Could you ask the Lord, to give you a dream?" So she had a dream, but in the dream it just said, "I look different with my glasses off." So I was very cynical at that time. I was thinking, typical Scandinavian, always looking over the shoulder for something better. That's what I started thinking in my crazy head. But I controlled myself, thanks be to God. I did not say anything. I did not act in a bad manner. And she left. But she was on my mailing list. 2 years later.
So she went back to Norway.
Yeah, she went back to Norway. She went over to Kenya. She almost got married in Kenya. She was gone for like 2 years.
All right. She didn't just leave town. She properly left. Yeah.
Yeah, she didn't leave in any bad way. She just finished her 6 weeks and just left.
Yeah.
And thankfully I controlled myself to that degree. Thankfully now I would think even higher level of control. But in those days, to control was better than not to control. And so after a couple of years, the Lord finally gave me permission to come to Europe. When I wanted to go the year before, it was a no, because I was living by cash, no cards. Everything had to be cash. If the Lord didn't give me $55 to pay for my university application, no university for me. I wasn't going to go and ask people for money. I just wouldn't do it. So finally, after 2 years, it gave me freedom to come to Europe for a visit. I sent out an email to everyone. "I'm coming to Europe. Anyone want an audience, please?" And she responded. And she said, "You could come to Norway and we could have a good time and talk." I came to Norway. We talked together. And we said, we'll try to be together. This is 2 years later. And so she came on the February in 2002. And we married on July 8th, 2002.
Wow.
And we married in St. Andrew's Church of Scotland, which is beautiful church right over from Jaffa Gate, Jerusalem. Over Mount Zion's there, hell's right down below. Gehinnom Valley is right below us. Zion's over there. And we married there. And then, as I said, we had our first kid in Bethlehem September the next year. And we had the witnesses for our wedding were a bishop, metropolitan from a Catholicus, not Roman Catholic, but Catholicus, from the Holy and Apostolic Church of the East, which goes all the way back to India and Thomas in India. And so he was the witness along with his wife. And then we were married by Clarence, I think it was Clarence Rogers, who was the pastor of the St. Andrew's Church of Scotland, over there. So that's how we met, and that's how we married. And by the grace of God, that's how we are together.
And that's why you're in Norway today, speaking to me from Norway.
Exactly. Because,
right.
Yeah.
Okay. So, well, let's move on and talk about the book then.
Okay.
Because the book was a lot of fun to do. The Inspirational Teachings of Bethel. Bethel is a church in the United States. How does that work in? Did you go, because we've got the Middle East, and we've got Scandinavia and a bit of Europe. How did you end up in the USA?
Right. So it's again a fascinating story. There is when I'm in a culture, I tend to go with that culture. So Norway is a Lutheran culture. So I'm a Lutheran. I was attending a Lutheran church. All my kids got baptized. I baptized my kid in the Catholicus in Israel, one of them, the first one. The rest got baptized here in Lutheran churches. And one of the Lutheran ministers got excited about this church in Redding, California. He was so excited, he was organizing a trip to go there with a team of the youth. And he was given a whole bunch of money to take the youth on a trip over to this church. I'd asked him, if you got any extra money, I'm not really a youth, but if you got any extra money, I'd love to go. He never came back to me. So I just decided, I think I will go to Bethel by faith. I didn't know what it was particularly, but I knew that they had a new method of evangelism called treasure hunting. And treasure hunting means when you go out to evangelize, you're going to look for the gold inside people, the treasure, and the people are the treasures. Whereas when I used to evangelize, it's turn or burn. So
okay.
I'm
turn or burn.
Street
okay.
preacher.
Right.
And so there's this new method. I thought, well, I'm an evangelist.